A bloke who we've worked with for some time, and of course you'd know him from the D Generation and from the Late Show and Funky Squad, but he's probably best known as the photocopier repairman on Frontline. It's Tom Gleisner. Tom, thanks for coming in again.
Thank you for having me again.
Now, what's happening Frontline on Monday?
It's an episode Keeping Up Appearances. We figured if we put that title in, we'd get a lot of elderly ABC viewers.
Oh, well played.
And it's generally that is the title, and it's about it's the story of a woman. This is a true story that was told to us by someone who used to work in current affairs. A woman who was horribly disfigured in I forget, it was battery acid in the face. So you've seen Mel Gibson in Man Without a Face. You've seen Anthony Warlow in Phantom of the Opera. You've seen George Negus in Broad Daylight. This is the sort of thing we're talking here, and it's how Frontline get the story, how they pursue her and get it to air. That is Frontline this Monday night.
And what's it called again?
Keeping Up Appearances is the title.
And that's going to be followed by episode 8. Birds of a Feather,
hopefully. And then the Penelope Keith Festival running right through to midnight.
And some mothers do have them. Beautiful. Okay, we've been talking to Tom Gleisner. Thanks for coming in. That was the sentence I was attempting there. You know,
that's the sentence I took on board. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Mick.
Okay. This is Martin Malloy.
Welcome to episode 61 of the Champagne Comedy Podcast, where we talk about the best Australian comedy show from the 90s ever made, Frontline, and other D-Generation comedy tidbits. My name is Matt, and joining this podcast today is Alison, Daniel and Kim.
Hey! Hi!
We're flying, aren't we? It's fantastic. We've got a back chat that's...
completely chockers.
Yeah, completely backed up. There we go. First one, I've got a letter. This came, this is going to be a surprise to all of you. I received some amazing feedback, especially from the previous episode. And this only came in a couple of hours before this recording. And it's from Cameron Davis. And he says, "Hi, amazing people who make this amazing podcast." His words, not mine, seriously. I can screen grab the email and show.
So Cameron's a real person, yeah?
Yes, Cameron is a real person and not AI or
a Cameron D.
Yeah. This email has almost nothing to do with Frontline. Okay, well, let's just surf this.
Oh, well, fine, move on.
Yeah, but I wanted to say that I really enjoyed the recent episode's chat about the technology section in TV Week.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so that was the previous episode. This is because I wrote video game reviews in that section from mid-1995 to sometime in 1997. So I'm glad I'm not the only one who remembers that bit in the magazine fondly. I got the gig after I started messaging Andrew Quested online on a weekly basis, pointing out factual errors that were made in the previous week's edition of the TV Week.
Lovely.
Eventually, he told me to put up or shut up and challenged me to do a better job of it. It was my first break into the video games industry, where I still work to this day. And, parentheses, and if you're wondering how much they paid, it was $70 for a 300-word review in 1995 money. And I got a free game too. An absolute fortune compared to what you'd get these days, and parentheses. Last I heard, Andrew Quested renounced technology and went to live in a small village in Eastern Europe, which, given how things have turned out, was a good call. Anyway, I still have all the TV weeks I was in, so I guess I should go and see if any of them have appeared in Frontline. So I could at least make a very dubious claim I was in an episode. Thanks, Cameron.
Oh, that's a brilliant email.
Thanks, Cameron. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It was very, very rare to get into technology writing back then. That's where I did my internships at a magazine called internet.au back in 1997, and it was one of those early internet magazines. and I got to review websites for kids, so that was fun. Didn't get paid for it though. Didn't get my $70 for 300 words. They got a lot out of me for nothing. They got
At least
several
you got a
pages
lot
worth
of
of
good
copy.
exposure, though, Kim.
This is true. Yeah, it's all about the experience.
It's all about
isn't it?
exposure these days. Yeah.
My understanding is that if you do freelance writing now in 2024, you get paid about $70 for 300 words. So it's nice to know that, you know, publishers have really kept those wages, you know, in line with inflation, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I guess we should have our resident reviewer Tony around. So.
Yeah, he could run us through all the rates for freelance writing, I'm sure, but alas, he is not with us today.
What is the going rate? I did get a letter of the week in TV Week many years ago, and I got $100 for it. So
Nice.
Wow.
Actually, you want to know a fun fact? It's embarrassing at the same time. I was writer of the month. No, what was it? No, letter of the month and idiot of the month at the same time in the one issue of FHM. So
Okay, for what?
I'm not. What?
How can
Sorry,
you be
this is
both?
going
I
off
mean, that
topic.
must have been a genius letter.
Well, it was two different letters.
Okay.
So, but I had signed them a similar way, but like, all right.
How much do you
So-
get for the idiot of the month letter? Do you get $100?
I got a 6-pack of Jack Daniels and Coke. So
Okay.
yeah, like in the 6-pack of tubes. So,
Nice.
but I had to chase him up because I didn't hear anything for 2 months or whatever. I'm going, where's my prize? And
Where's
then
the
suddenly
Jack
it came
and Coke?
by courier. Yeah, it's I won't tell you what issue of FHM it is, Australian FHM, but this is in it will be in the early noughties. And it's I got a photo of myself with a well-known model at the time, and who featured regular in FHM and Ralph. And I was lucky enough to be invited to a CD single launch of hers because I was friends with her graphic designer, and this was out in Kingscliff, I think, King's Cross. I do apologise, in a nightclub that doesn't exist anymore. And so I got this photo.
Now I'm just trying to work out what the song was and who the artist is.
yeah, which kind of model or someone who would have been in
I'll let you
FHM?
work
Did
that
they
out.
date a radio personality by chance?
Anyway, we
Let's move on.
I think I might know who it is, but
Yeah, that
we'll
was
leave
a
it
rumour.
for when you press stop on the recording.
I
So,
assume that Matt
but it
will
was-
be tweeting this photograph later on Champagne Comedy.
well, if you feel free to tweet me at mattfulton.com.au. You know, pester me, and I probably will, but I don't expect anyone to do it. It's half embarrassing. Anyway, so that was letter of the month because I emailed FHM and I included a photo which was taken on one of the earliest Kodak digital cameras at the time. I had to borrow my brother's camera for it because I was too poor. And then after I had submitted that, I had handwritten another letter because I was reading through it, and you know when they do those smart-ass comments or whatever with the photo and then like a little blurb, or just the cheekiness. Yeah, Alison, you're a regular reader of FHM, I know.
Sure. Yeah, big fan.
But there was one that was based on Indiana Jones, and I stupidly thought, because I wasn't aware of the whole Latin type thing, and Sean Connery's character goes, when they're going through the Last Crusade where they're walking on the tablet, the letters, and there's got to spell out Jehovah, and he treads on J, and he falls through with it, and it's meant to be Jehovah in Latin, which starts with I. So all I've thought was Jehovah was spelt with I the entire time, and they had written J for Jehovah in FHM. So I wrote in and said, no, it's actually spelt with an I, not a J. And they put me as idiot of the month, so I balanced things out.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm still the idiot, but I've got the issue. I've got the magazine still, but yeah. Anyway, this is about Frontline. So Daniel, I believe you've got something. So thank you for writing in, Cameron. We appreciate it. Unfortunately, there's no prize.
You do get our admiration for being one of the fans.
Yeah, and the fact that
does Cameron get the fictional Tim Tams?
done,
Yep.
done.
And we'll make sure they're gluten free as well. Or some, or one of those weird, collaborative flavors, Jats crackers or something.
Oh, God.
Ew.
Yeah, so Daniel, you've got something for Backchat.
Yeah, it's kind of media related. So at the end of last year, Mitch McTaggart put out his annual last year of television special on the streaming service Binge. As Binge say, you've either got it or you don't. And now for those of you who don't, my finger is weirdly pointing at myself here. Binge have now put the full special up on their YouTube channel. So from transphobia to Cardinal George Pell's death to the best and worst of Australian original television, Mitch McTaggart hosts a review of the good, the bad and the cringe from 2023. And yeah, if you're, watching Frontline, watching Media Watch, watching The Cheap Seats, this special will be right up your alley. And it includes things like this little excerpt here, a current affair, no context required.
We know who you are and we're coming after you. People aren't safe in their own homes anymore. They're a law unto themselves. They're the removalists holding furniture hostage.
As an accountant, he's meant to be good with numbers.
It's the lowest of acts.
Many murderers take their secrets to the grave.
Well, at first light, the howling begins. She calls herself a scammer. He's a dirty creep. Well, he calls himself the grass father.
Nothing beats a cuppa and some scones.
Bruce Lemon.
So there you go. That's the last year of television 2023 on YouTube officially. The last bit of news I've got is an article popped up on the radio industry news website Radio Today, written by Sarah Patterson, titled Pure Genius Inside the Radio Phenomenon That Was Martin Malloy. She reminisces about the iconic drive time radio show that ran from 1995 to 1998. And it looks like she interviewed quite a lot of people for the article. Tony and Mick, obviously, producer Peter Grace, occasional fill-in producer Andy Grace, no relation, talking about a visit from Mr. Methane. Mm-hmm. She also talked to Mick and Tony's content director boss Brad March about an unorthodox meeting he and executive Peter Harvey, not that Peter Harvey, made them attend. We even get to hear a little bit from the voice of Mrs. Wedgie from A Very Wedgie Christmas, who was a newsreader at the time, Catherine Garrett. So it's a very entertaining read. I've given the link to Matt, so I'm sure he'll distribute it on all the socials, so you can have a read as well. And I think even the article even prompted Dan Illich to pull out the 3 Martin Malloy albums, give them a listen again. I know he tweeted them out. Saying,
the Holy Trinity, I think it was.
Yeah. That's right.
3 pack of CDs.
What I also found interesting were some of the comments underneath the article on Radio Today. There were a couple of categories that they fell under. One of them was they don't make radio like that anymore, which I think is quite true. Like considering how tightly scripted Martin Malloy was, how buttoned down it was compared to Radio Today, which is, you have to be a lot more relatable and authentic these days in order to be funny. There's not a lot of scripting going on in radio these days, don't you reckon?
It depends what you mean by relatable, but, I listen to these people and I just think, I don't relate to any of that. They think it's relatable, but it's just sort of whinging about their lives. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. What was interesting in that article was how they just said back then they didn't talk about their personal lives and what went on. It was just all those scripts and the humour.
Good. They were just being
you didn't
funny.
have to associate with them as personalities. It was more what the humour that they were producing.
Funny enough, they spoke a lot about politics back in the day.
Yeah.
And now, if you do it now, it'll go over a lot of people's heads, but it was very politically heavy.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff about John Howard and the
well, it was very easy to parody.
Yeah.
And I think well, the article says this. It's a pre-social media era when you know, people were watching TV and reading newspapers, and so therefore they were encountering a lot of politics. And whereas I suppose these days people are getting stuff off social media, which may not necessarily be the most authoritative news source, shall we say.
And it was, I think they were really reminiscing about all the famous people that went on the show, because back then they didn't have that social media presence to kind of promote themselves. They had to actually go around and do all these countries and TV shows and talk about what they were publicising. And then Mick and Tony had some fun in the process.
You know how you mentioned Mr. Methane? I was at a secondhand DVD movie store, and I was trying. Every time I go into one of those places, I always try my luck to see if I can find Tackle Happy, just to complete the collection. Okay, so if you know what Tackle Happy is, that's Mick Malloy's documentary on puppetry of the penis. And
back in the early days of the Enterprise as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Before they were an international phenomenon.
All I found was like about 15 Mr. Methane DVDs.
Where was this?
There's heaps of them, and I just go, oh my goodness.
But I think I've mentioned this before, but he was at my university back in 1997. I went with my housemates in the small uni bar in Bathurst. And yeah, as you can probably imagine, if there's only about 50 to 100 people in this bar, and then there's Mr. Methane farting for hours on end with his talcum powder. He kind of lies on his back in his Superman style outfit, puts some talcum powder on there so you can visually see exactly what he's doing. And so that's one of those gigs that just, you know, I've seen Radiohead 10 times, but once Mr. Methane sticks with me, you know.
You only need to see Mr. Methane once. Radiohead you need to go back to.
You mean Mr. Methane lingers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know how Mr. Methane does it. Does he eat a lot of eggs? Does he eat a lot of beans? What does he do?
Well, the thing is that I saw the Mr. Methane DVDs right to American Rosso Unplanned DVDs as well. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That says
think about that one. Yeah.
I guess.
Yep.
And
it was about 3 copies of American Rosso stuff.
Yeah. What do people want to keep and what do they not want to keep?
Sorry, Daniel. I do apologise. Okay. As soon as you mentioned Mr. Methane, it just took me back to that.
Yeah, we just kind of we just had to suddenly bring back our Mr. Methane memories.
It's amazing what you can find in op shops these days, and yeah, thankfully it's not like
this wasn't an op shop.
Like yet another Susan Boyle album, or you know, yet another copy of Candle in the Wind 1997.
Was it Harry Connick Jr.?
Yeah,
there's a lot of them, but yeah, I was at the Salvos today, just trying to find the good stuff. I did find Girlfriend's Take It From Me single and Frente's album the other day, so I may or may not have purchased.
I was going to say too, I did find in that same store a whole bunch of, well, not a whole bunch, it's probably over-exaggerating. I did find about 5 copies of Any Questions for Ben. So,
which op shop is this? I don't see this in the inner West Sydney ones.
It's that exchange place. The CEX,
right.
Yeah, they've got plenty of them.
I don't think they've got any in Adelaide, so it's a foreign concept to me.
CEX
but yeah,
is very good.
I would be going there quite regularly just to sort of see what else.
Shop
I mean, I don't know how much new old stock comes in, but yeah, I'd be down there all the time.
Yep, they've got plenty of Cracker Jack, and Any Questions for Ben.
Yeah, I think now that you know, with Disney stopping the physical media being sold in Australia and JB Hi-Fi, you know, trying to promote all of that before the stock is gone, there's going to be a bit of the prices are going to be jacked up in some of these op shops. I think they're going to go from $1 to $5.
Damn flippers!
No, I've never thought about flipping being applied to the world of home media.
It's common.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that sort of stuff might be happening with, say, VHSs nowadays.
Yeah.
And laser discs. I suppose it's only a matter of time before, it comes to CDs and DVDs, yeah.
I think you would have to have quite a deep knowledge of stuff like, you know, the local op shop might be selling for cheap something that you know is worth much more. And so you buy it for cheap and then flip it on eBay or CEX or wherever. Cash converters.
Now, the other type of comment that was in there was Tony and Mick for the Australian Commercial Radio Awards Hall of Fame. So, yeah, considering I'm pretty sure Kyle and Jackie O are in there already, I'm surprised they made it before Tony and Mick.
Well, Doug Morey's in it, Kyle and Jackie O, and
Yeah. If anything, it'd be able to facilitate Sam Pang's dream of reuniting Tony and Mick a la Frank Sinatra reuniting Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis on the 1976 MDA telethon.
Oh, I think we'd all like to see just the two of them standing next to each other and maybe shaking hands at least, wouldn't we? It'd be just a nice moment. So, yep, Tony and Mick for the Hall of Fame right now.
Yep. Radio Today, get onto it.
But there was one comment underneath the article which I was quite proud to see, and it came from somebody calling themselves Pete the Sea.
Ah, Pete the Clown. Long time admirer of the Champagne Comedy website and podcast.
It's the very first track of the very first album, the Brown Album, In Conversation with Pete the Clown. So is it the actual Pete the Clown or somebody just naming themselves after the actual Pete?
I'd say it's someone naming after, because the way that you can write comments on that site, pretty easy. But I will say though that the real Pete the Clown has unfortunately passed away. He passed away a couple of years ago. So like the real one, the one that was on the CDs.
On the album, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because there was a comment on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Champagne Comedy, and the daughter of Pete the Clown was mentioning that, but my dad was on it, Pete the Clown and so forth, and reached out to her saying, hey, is he still around? And it's like, nah, he passed away a couple of years ago, but he loved being immortalised on the CD. No one believed that he was on it.
I'll have to have a Guinness in his honour.
Oh, yeah, a few of them.
So, obviously, naming himself after Pete the Clown, and hopefully not any other C word out there.
Pete the country person.
Christ.
Oh.
So, so Pete the C writes in the comments on Radio Today that Martin Malloy is the one radio show to have had a comic book based on them, which was created by a listener. Gee, I wonder how he knows that. He continues, you should listen to the podcast called Champagne Comedy.
Wow.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. And he goes on to explain our format, if you want to call it a format, down to a T, I think. It's a bunch of friends talking about the D-Generation and the Late Show stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
He continues... it goes a bit long in some episodes.
Does
but
it?
It's great to hear.
Really?
This is after it's been edited.
I'll own up to that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we should learn to wind it up sometimes.
Like this segment.
Yeah,
we're still in back chat.
We're like, okay, we're like 24 minutes in.
Yeah.
It goes a bit long in some episodes, but it's great to hear other fans talk about a legendary time in Australian comedy.
Yay. Cool. Thanks, Pete.
So,
thanks,
if it's the same Pete that's been a frequent visitor to the forum and website over the years.
Wait, is that,
hello.
Do you think that's him?
It could be, if it is.
If it is.
Hello, if it isn't, it's another Pete, then yay, we've got another fan.
Pete the C, you are not a C word to us. Thanks for introducing the comedy nerds to the radio nerds, as it were. And thanks, Sarah Patterson, for writing that article and saving us from the incessant talk about Kyle and Jackie O for the past couple of weeks.
But what I do like about when Tony Martin tweets about Daily Mail and how many articles there is about it every day, and he's like, only 5 articles this month, someone's going to get in trouble, and then only 3
they've been sacked.
They've been sacked. Heads will roll every day. So I don't know if he's counting them every day or if he's got someone to do it for him, but at least I'm not doing it.
It's all in this week's TV Week, packed with great family entertainment.
Oh, Jesus!
Daniel G. and his program guide. Don't skip the technology section in the TV Week.
A few things just before we get to the program guide proper. The weekly Ross Warneke column was quite apt to both then and now. It was headlined, "Should Channel 10 be allowed to keep its licence?"
Oh, jeez. That's so close to... Like they're on the verge of losing their lives.
To what's happening now. With all the shows.
So Ross's opening introduction. Do the owners of the 10 network deserve to retain their broadcast licence? That question needs to be asked after 10's axing of its 3 new locally made early evening shows for 1995. The teen soapy Echo Point and infotainment shows Behind the Wheel and Your Money and Your Life. The cancellation has left 10 with so few Australian programs that a reassessment of its licence should be undertaken immediately. The network has not launched a successful new homegrown product in evening prime time for more than 2 years. And just for a bit of context, at this point in time, 1995, it was under Canadian ownership. Considering that, as of this recording, Channel 10 has announced that they're not going ahead with another season of The Masked Singer and The Bachelor. And it sort of spawned, like, along with talk about the ownership of its global parent company, Paramount, there's been a lot of talk about whether Channel 10 will see out the next decade.
I blame Mason Hellcat.
Yep, killed it.
Yeah, I bet he's celebrating right now with the discontinuation of Masked Singer.
No, he tweeted me saying that he'll only accept one victim, which is the Masked Singer, and not the rest.
The Bachelor, yeah. The other thing which is happening this week is the first of a 2-part mini-series all about New South Wales police corruption, called Blue Murder. Now, you might remember that this was not allowed to be seen in New South Wales until 2001. Ross Warneke writes in a review here that if there's one program you must watch this week, this is it. The telling of the tale of Nettie Smith, played by E Street's Tony Martin. It's a good thing he put E Street's Tony Martin in there.
Have to clarify that.
Yep.
AKA the other Tony Martin. His recruitment by disgraced former detective Roger Rogerston, played by Richard Roxburgh, and his gang of corrupt coppers, and the violence with which Rogerson enforced his rule over the Sydney underworld makes for edge-of-the-seat viewing. So, that was a 2-part miniseries, the 14th of September and 21st of September, Thursdays at 9 p.m. Oddly enough, really odd choice after Mr. Bean at 8:30.
what a pairing. Weren't there people in Victoria or probably other states who were videoing like Blue Murder and then giving it to their friends in New South Wales or something? I remember there being articles about there being a trade in sort of illegal VHSs to people in New South Wales.
I do remember that, and they also did that with Underbelly too, where it was either torrented or burn them to DVD and mail them down to Victoria.
Yeah.
I had a couple of requests for that while I was living in Queensland, and I had a couple of friends down in Victoria going, especially one that was working in the police force. So I'm going, are you trying to entrap me?
Well, see, like there's also been a bit of talk about how it's probably not illegal for you to buy a copy of Rebel Wilson's autobiography from the US, say, and importing it into Australia, where there's an entire chapter redacted for Australia.
Ah, okay. Is that
so?
Thing?
Yes. I don't know if you can even mention. Quite honest.
Is that in the? Can I go to my local Waterstones here in London and buy the version of Rebel Wilson's biography? Or is it
from memory? From memory, I think the UK version is lightly redacted.
Okay, right.
As opposed to completely.
But the Australian printed version is the most redacted version out there.
Yeah,
and as far as I
collect the whole set, everyone.
Keep in mind, I'm not a lawyer.
No, but the Australian version, it's got a Mad Magazine fold in, so it's
It's also by Rebel Without a Clause.
Sorry, hold on.
Yeah, that deserved that.
Yay!
There's also an article to do with Frontline, a short piece by Dougal Jelly talking about the radio side of things. Why has Neil Mitchell been replaced by his 3LO rival Peter Couchman as the generic talkback radio host on the ABC television comedy series Frontline? Well, it seems the answer has to do with one of Mitchell's guests and Green Guide television critic Ross Warneke.
Oh.
The day before Mitchell was to tape his first segment, he was told by Frontline's executive producer, Michael Hirsch, he was no longer required because he had been, quote, less than supportive, unquote, of the series during a prior segment with Warneke.
Warneke!
It's no... I know, the bastard. It is no secret that Warneke, filling in for Mitchell on his 3AW show next week, is not exactly on Frontline's Christmas card mailing list. Mitchell said of his demotion this week, I thought they were becoming exactly the sort of people that they parody. It's disappointing because I thought they were taking themselves a bit too seriously. Channel 9 seemed to accept me on air and criticising them. If 9 can accept it, I would have thought Frontline could. Hirsch said the talkback radio host switch was a, quote, non-thing, unquote, that Mitchell had pushed the beat-up button on. We felt like a change, and there's nothing more than that, he said. We'll have different radio people doing different things. It's not a big deal for us. All the time, Couchman, who has appeared in 3 episodes, has remained unaware of the kerfuffle.
Well, I thought because there was so much of the 3AW going on the ABC.
Who says you can't advertise on the ABC?
Branding.
Although, mind you, there's nothing to stop you advertising the ABC on the ABC either, so...
Well, no, that's fine, yeah. That's considered promo.
Yeah, you're right, yeah, promo.
Yeah.
I think it makes less sense to have Couchman just because in that era, ABC like TV shows would be promoted pretty much only on ABC radio. You know, it was very rare that they would get any promotion on commercial radio. I know that, like, you know, Tom Gleisner would go on Martin Malloy and that, but that was quite a rare thing. Whereas commercial current affairs shows, if they did a radio slot, it would be like, you know, your 3AWs or your very popular radio station in whatever market it was. And they would never bother with the ABC because not enough people listen to that, or not enough people in their demographic listen to that anyway. So, yeah, anyway... It doesn't make sense, but hey, I like the Warneke theory.
All right, let's get to the actual program guide. So after Frontline, Four Corners and Media Watch, if you thought that you were going to be rid of Absolutely Fabulous after last week's season finale, you're sorely mistaken. There's a behind-the-scenes special called How to Be Absolutely Fabulous. Basically, Jennifer Saunders hosts a behind-the-scenes look at the show with clips and bloopers, and she's also on the phone, supposedly, to the United States.
Hello, Roseanne? Yes, Jennifer Saunders here. How's it going with the American version of Absolutely Fabulous, what I've just sold to you? Oh, good. But the question burning on all our mouths over here is, will they still be allowed to drink and smoke and be generally awful? Oh, good. Oh, that's put all of our mind at rest.
And she's not wrong about US versions of Ab Fab. There was a US version which was to star Roseanne Barr and Carrie Fisher, planned by the American ABC, but the project never made it to screen. Faring slightly better, but only just, was another pilot made in 2009 for the Fox network, which was also rejected, but you can see that online. Over on Channel 7, we've got Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. Another repeat, Season 1, Episode 17, titled The Foundling, from February 1994. Clark discovers that the globe he had found on his spaceship is a projector of messages from his biological father, Jor-El, who tries to explain to him why he and his mother, Lara, had to send him to Earth, and reveals the truth about Clark's heritage and that his birth name is Kal-El. Over on SBS, we've got the second episode of the German documentary series That Was Our War. As the Spanish Civil War was drawing to an end, the war in Europe was gathering force. So, more views of the Second World War from the German perspective. Over on Channel 9, I've got some sad news to make. Hope and Gloria is no longer on the air.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Varley, Hope and Gloria only had 4 episodes. So 7th of August to 4th of September.
No hope, no glory. Aw.
So it got bumped out of the schedule for a double episode of Frasier. It's a 2-parter anyway, which is why it's filling up the whole 7:30 hour. It's Adventures in Paradise, parts 1 and 2. After Frasier admires a woman featured in a magazine article on eligible singles in Seattle, his radio colleague Roz brings them together.
I just opened up the pages of Seattle magazine, and there she was.
Oh, my. Who is this fresh angel? Madeline Marshall.
Why didn't I just come right out and say it? Would you be so good as to have dinner with me tonight?
I was wondering what you thought about us going away for the weekend.
Roz, I'm in love. So off I flew to Bora Bora, and did I receive the shock of my life.
Frasier.
Oh, my God.
Frasier?
Oh, my God!
Yes, they encounter Frasier's ex-wife Lilith,
Yes.
staying next door at the same resort.
I remember that episode.
I remember that episode too. Yeah.
And that part was the previously on section, sort of proving Tony Martin's Sizzletown theory that, you don't have to see a previous episode if you just look at the previously on section. All right, so that leaves Channel 10 lucky last, and it's Healthy, Wealthy and Wise. So this week, Ross meets 2 women who have cut down on business costs in order to get their product onto the supermarket shelves.
So they cut back on the Tim Tams.
Most likely, yeah, and only the orange paper, yeah.
Yep.
Tonya makes a herbal pet collar. Jim visits Hobart.
Sorry, go back to that. What?
Herbal pet collar?
Pet
Sorry,
collar.
I
What's
want
that?
more detail.
Yeah.
You've got no detail.
That's
Like one of
all it
those
says.
flea repellent things.
Yeah, you're basically making a wreath.
Yeah.
Herbal pet collar as opposed to a beef jerky style pet collar?
Let me look at this up. Herbal.
I'm just imagining they
collar.
get a load of like bouquet garnies and just weave them all together and stick it around the
Or it's
pet.
hemp. Yeah, hemp and the dog's just constantly high.
Yeah,
It's just
natural kind of shame.
Yeah, man.
Are you Googling
Wait, the
herbal
dog
pet
will,
collar?
the dog will
Kim?
go.
Yeah, it's a flea and tick repellent. Usually with eucalyptus oil and other natural ingredients.
Okay.
That's no fun.
Good to know.
But you do get one. Oh, there's one for a hemp dog collar for sensitive pets. So I don't know. There could be like a catnip one or something. I don't know.
Oh, I wish it was Tonya Todman. Tonya Todman having to go and source her own hemp.
She's already hyper enough
That
as it
would
is,
have
so
been
I don't
an
know.
interesting
She probably needs
episode.
it.
Tonya travels to Ninbin and
And she meets moonshine and stargaze on their hemp farm. Excellent.
Although, mind you, also in the episode, Jim visits Hobart and we learn how to cook Thai-flavoured scallops from Byron Bay.
I just like that he visits Hobart, as in what else?
Somebody has to.
Yeah, he visits
They
Hobart.
didn't have Mona back then. Why would you go to Hobart in 1995?
To visit the set of Young
Probably
Einstein.
because you couldn't get plane tickets to Adelaide.
Come on, Adelaide's got wine.
Everyone wanted to see the map of Tasmania back then.
He won't see
And
me in
on that
FHM.
note, let's get on with the episode.
Some of us don't need to travel to see that.
Thank you very much, Daniel. All right, ready to get into this? And
Yep.
okay, so Alison,
I know. Sorry, Pete. The C. I don't know how much of this is going to make it, but we're only just getting into the episode now.
yeah,
Yeah.
We've been recording
Goes on
for
a bit too
52
long,
minutes just for Pete the C's information.
yeah. And I've edited an hour and a half out already. All right. So you ready, Alison?
Oh, God.
It's your turn this episode.
It is,
Yeah.
it is my turn.
Get ready for it. Just warm up your vocals. Okay. 4, 3, 2, cue in.
Hello, I'm Hyacinth. This is Frontline Season 2, Episode 8, Keeping Up Appearances, broadcast Monday, September the 11th, 1995.
Well done.
Yeah, Alison Bouquet.
Thank you, Mrs. Bucket.
It's Bouquet.
And I mean, just on that title, it's so apt for, well, two of the storylines that come up in this episode, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well done, Alison. Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't get to go Sheridan, but I did just then, so that's fine.
What does he want this time? No, wait, now, how much does he want? Join us for the Keeping Up Appearances podcast coming.
We're not doing a Keeping Up Appearances podcast.
No.
You never know. People are living longer these days. We might have to fill in our retirement years somehow.
Okay, I think we'll know that this is over when we finally do any questions for Ben. I think that's the end of it.
No, we're never doing that.
Well, you know what? I really have to say that it was going to be that outro, and I'm going to play this one because I heard it before I put it in the system, Daniel. This is brilliant. Yeah. So here's the other one that Daniel surprised me with.
That's
fantastic, mate. Fantastic.
Nice.
You've got a hidden talent.
It just so well, yeah. I was going to say mediocre talent. I mean, I'm thankful that the Keeping Up Appearances theme and the Frontline theme are kind of the same key. I kind of pitched up one of the stabbed stings at the end there. I got it from this DJ by the name of Sheridan.
Yeah, DJ Pete the C.
Sheridan Bucket. He's away in London with his roommate Tarquin. He works in IT for some website which is only for the fans or something.
Yes.
Recently featured in a first issue of a particular magazine that just came out in Australia.
Oh.
Thank you for bringing it back, Kim.
Yeah. All right. Let's get on with it.
All right. And so the synopsis of Keeping Up Appearances is when a tragically scarred woman agrees to sell her story, the price is too high. But Sam comes up with a plan to raise the money. So, wow, this is this episode annoyed me.
Are we going to start using a phrase we employed a lot when we were looking at the Late Show?
Well, of its time.
Oh,
yeah. I thought it was going to be pedantry, but there's so many to choose from.
No pedantry yet. Jeez. No. It was one of those things where Brooke pissed me off in this episode. Really did. So, but
we still love Emma.
Yeah, still got.
Emma is on the right side of history. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're in the morning in the office, and Stu is the first to show everyone the front cover of Brave, Australia's freshest and hippest gay magazine, first issue, with Mike on the front cover. But following not far behind is Brooke and Marty, who think they've got the exclusive, but no. So nice little setup there. And meanwhile, it's all budget cuts going around too.
What's this, Shirley?
Budget cuts. Again? Every 6 months they go through this cost-cutting bullshit. Travel expenses, stationery. Better get your manila folders before they run out, Stu.
Yes. This would never happen at Channel 9. Where's all the chocolate biscuits?
Budget cuts.
Those damn Tim Tams.
Can I just say, I've never worked in an office where there's like a load of chocolate biscuits. That just doesn't happen anywhere. Or maybe it did, like in the era before I was working in offices, but you know, free biscuits. You never get free biscuits.
No, it's either when you do, it's always the dry family assorted ones, and then the Kingstons are always the first ones to go. No one touches.
It's never the assorted creams.
No,
either.
Yeah. And if someone complains about the shortbread creams, and I'm like, I'll take them. Jeez, they're really good.
It is true about the stationery, though. You do get quite a good selection of things in the old stationery cupboard.
But I love a good stationery cupboard. And you just take pens just because, or the odd post-it note. You don't need it, or the wrist pad. You just go.
Yeah, my wrist pads from my office.
It's like your own private little office works.
Yes.
Yeah. My own private office work starring
a smorgasbord of stationery.
And it's all free.
Free, I tell you. And then the budget cuts come in, and it's like someone's been raiding the stationery cabinet. Who is it?
Yeah.
But back to the front cover, and Mike walks into the office unaware of the magazine. And when it comes to show prep time with the team, acid burns victim Celia is coming out of hospital, and there's a bidding war on the story. Emma calls her a woman, but Brooke calls her the prostitute.
That was the language in the 90s. People weren't using sex worker or any of the other terms at that time. So it does reflect the time and all the attitudes really towards Celia, which are in this episode, are like of the time. And I would say the gay reaction as well about the Brave magazine. You know, people are just like, I know that we've recently had on television, you know, the Mardi Gras started up a couple of years before this episode, and, you know, Julian Clary, and, you know, you sort of felt like people were cool with homosexuality, but actually the attitudes in this episode are what people were still kind of thinking at that point. I think a lot of people anyway.
In fact, just watching this, it just shows you how far we've evolved.
Yeah.
And, matured, I'd say.
Yeah.
Realised
it's not something to worry about, or it's just none of our business.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. It's fine. Yeah.
Brooke is lining up an interview with Lachlan Murdoch. No shame in her. And Marty is trying... I'm only saying that because Brooke's proud to do that. And
you sort of get a sense with Brooke that... Because I think Lachlan Murdoch hadn't got married to... I can't remember her name.
He was a bachelor.
Yeah, he was a bachelor.
Sarah.
And you could absolutely imagine that Brooke really wanted that interview just so she could hit on him, you know?
Well, they did mention that he was a bachelor.
Yeah, I've brought this magazine out before. Sorry, it's magazine time again. It's Clio from February 1995, and it's got the 50 most eligible bachelors in it.
Ooh.
And it does have a little profile on Lachlan. It's got the other one as well. Unless the one that doesn't look as good.
Please read it out.
James Packer.
Show and tell. Show and tell.
No, it's got it basically profiles famous people as well as people just everyday Aussies. But yeah, Lachlan Murdoch at the time, 22, general manager of Queensland newspapers, Brisbane, Queensland. And it says, good-looking Lachlan Murdoch is also Australia's youngest tycoon. As the eldest and most elusive of the Murdoch clan, he is heir to the massive News Corp fortune. So basically it's just all about how much money he's going to inherit. And I need some more light to see what I can read. So hang on a minute. It says here, he recently finished a degree at Princeton University in the US. And there's a little picture of him.
So he's rich, hot, and educated. What more could you need?
James Packer. James Packer, who's also a media mogul. Guy Pearce, Patrick Rafter, Kieran Perkins. They're the most famous ones on there.
Well, wasn't Rob Sitch in one of these sort of, you know... one year he was in it, I remember. Rob Sitch was in it.
He was in it. He's not in this particular one.
I can't remember which year. If someone can remember which year he was in The Bachelor of the Year, because I think it was... I feel it was mid-90s.
They also have Adam Hills, who was 24 at the time. Paul Keating's son, Patrick Keating, who I remember went to uni with a friend of mine, and everyone was like, oh, he's hot. And so then he was in this as well. Anyway, 50 most eligible bachelors. That's probably why he was so sought after for Brooke's next interview.
Thank you very much for that information, Kim. And you can put that. Was there a sealed section in Clio?
Yeah, there was a sealed section.
Is it ripped open?
There's one in. No, there's this particular one doesn't have a sealed section, but you can get it your hot sex video. I don't know how you can do that, but they have in the classified sections.
Wait,
really
is it
interesting.
sexy girls or sexy guns?
I should point out I was 18 when I bought this, so you can join the live party phone now in Australia. 24 hours, 7 days. Talk to other guys and girls. It's hot. Call now. 0011 180 9474
How many a minute? How much a minute?
Hang on, you had to
it in the voice.
0011, which means it was an international number.
Yeah, it's international rates do apply. 25 cents for 6.3 seconds.
Kim, I love the way you just said, it's hot, call now.
Yeah.
you really
That's
sold
what it says
it.
here. And then you can also call the astrology phone line, live one-to-one consultations.
How much is
Again,
that?
it's $3 a minute for that.
$3 a minute?
$3 a minute.
Bargain.
Wow.
Yeah. You can also phone a date. And there's also...
There'll be Norm, he's a Rotarian.
You can also, there's lots of mail order stuff. I won't get into what you can order on there, but there's a little catalogue.
Mail order stuff.
It's adult material, I assume one can mail order.
Yes,
Right.
various accessories and
I
things.
remember the sealed section of Clio, and it's a naked guy in there, but there was strategically placed gauze, so it's not like you could see stuff. It was a bit disappointing.
Yeah. It was disappointing.
Bit of a downer.
Yeah.
Not so. Yeah, it was literally, yeah.
Well, we assume it was down under the gauze.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Well, Marty, though, just back to the story.
Let's go on to Frontline again, please.
Yeah, Marty's trying to finish off a story about kids wearing seatbelts, but other than that...
Got a long-lost dog who travelled 2,000 kilometres to be reunited with its family.
What are you looking at me for? No, Sam, please, not another lost dog
we'll help
story,
you with
no.
your copy, Marty. You could say it's been a hard dog's night for this little fella.
What a dog day afternoon.
And with a keen sense of smell, a dogged determination.
Righto, come on.
I think it's a cute story.
I love the dog puns.
I don't know. With me, they're a bit rough.
Very good. Can I just also mention Dom has an amazing hairstyle. She's got a load of ping pong balls in her hair. She's like bits of hair are wrapped around ping pong balls, which must have taken hours and a lot of hairspray to achieve.
I think so. And so they are ping pong balls, not raw eggs or something.
I mean, that you're taking your life into your hands there if you're using raw eggs, but they kind of look like ping pong balls.
Mike needs his magazines for research, which Marty does give him a copy of Brave, only to discover what the magazine content truly is. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and straight away...
Q meeting in Sam's office, and the first thing that Sam says is, it's fair to say it's a monumental cock-up.
Yeah, I know, right?
Didn't know it was a gay magazine. The guy rang and we did the interview on the phone.
What about the photo?
Came from my office.
See, it's Jan's fault. She should have checked.
The editor rang and asked for a publicity shot.
For the front cover of a gay magazine.
But omitted to tell Kelly what kind of publication it was.
Well, she should be sacked.
Yeah, she has been.
Oh, that's a bit rough, isn't it?
Now we need to go straight into damage control.
Oh, absolutely. I don't want it to look like I got her sacked.
Is monumental cock-up the most appropriate phrase?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I mean, we assume that that's some of the contents of the magazine because that seems to be the implication, doesn't it? That there's stuff that...
Bad puns.
Yep, some of the people in the office find a bit
There's stuff
gay.
that red-blooded Aussie men can't stand.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to repeat those, but, the way to fix his appearance, and that is to appear on the footy show.
Yes.
Sizzle.
Yeah, which is still a relatively new thing in 95.
Yeah. Now, Emma is struggling to get Celia on board, so Sam pushes to offer 50 grand, even though they don't have that coin. Now, Marty's going through the Brave magazine.
Holy Jesus, this is off.
Oh, Mike's become the new gay icon.
He's right up there with Joanna Lumley, mate.
You know, I never really thought it before about Mike, but what, you reckon he is?
A decent journalist.
You two listen to yourself. He hasn't been outed. All the magazine is saying is that it's a reader's fancy Mike. I reckon it's flattering.
Yeah,
Hello?
right. What do you reckon, Brooke? Mike gay?
Well, in all the time that I've known him, he's never once even made a pass at me.
The man's not gay, he's just practicing safe sex.
I don't even know what you mean by that comment, but I know it's offensive.
All right, I'll explain it to you.
There's no need to explain it to me.
Ah, jeez.
Emma, the voice of reason there, amongst all that.
Yep, she sees the point of the whole article and that there's no reason to make a big deal out. It's just he just happens to be admired.
Is the correct answer.
Emma tells Sam that Celia has been offered 100 grand and Dom is feeling very sorry for her, for Celia that is, and wishes that she could do something. Well, that gives Sam an idea.
This poor, once beautiful woman, an innocent victim, who no longer...
Ah, she was a prostitute 30 seconds ago.
No, we play that down. She now has to face life, horribly disfigured. We ask Australians to open their heart and make a donation. The cash pours in, Celia gets a bucket load, we get an exclusive that rates through the roof, and it doesn't cost us a cent. Bing, bam, boom.
Great, use Celia's misfortune to our advantage.
Can I just enjoy the brilliance of my plan before the speaker for the negative pipes up?
Sam, I just think it's important...
Whatever you're going to say, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, and but with that too, being in the kitchen, do you notice that the Ken Bruce poster in the background is more and more prominent? I just can't unsee Ken Bruce's gone completely mad poster.
Is that technically advertising on the ABC?
Hold on.
Who says you can't advertise on the ABC?
I wasn't trying to point that out, but you made a good point, Alison.
Although, mind you, is it advertising when it's just a person? Although, mind you, if that person represents that business, advertising by proxy, you might call that.
It's subtle, but it's there.
Now, in the edit suite, Kate and Hugh are updating an obituary for Sir Edward, who's not quite dead yet. They do this for anyone who is over 80. And I will admit, in some places where I have worked, there have been times where I've been asked to put together a vignette or a montage for anyone who is hitting that ripe age.
Statistically, nearing.
Yes. When Prince Philip passed away, I was told to make it will be a good idea to make a montage about the Queen, because I was told it won't be that long until she goes too.
And that turned out to be correct. I'm surprised they didn't already have an obituary for Prince Philip on the go, because certainly like every newspaper and TV station have got just stacked up, anyone old, who's famous in any way, royals, celebrities, whatever.
Well, I mean, it's especially for British royalty, you might be able to speak more about this, Alison. Like, wasn't it called something like Operation London Tower? Basically, there's a whole operation that goes London Bridge. Thank you. Where basically it's a big operation to make sure that everybody's ready if it happens.
Yeah, the Queen's funeral, for example, they'd been planning it since at least the 1970s. And it's a whole massive deal of, where it's going to be, what music's going to be played, who's going to be invited, all this stuff. And the same for Prince Philip. And they even had plans for Prince Charles before he was king. And now that he is king, they will have plans for him as well. So they actually had plans for if Prince Charles had died before Queen Elizabeth II, they had a funeral plan for him, and they've got plans for all of the senior royals and all of their funerals and what happens, because I mean, amongst other things, it's actually about who's the head of government as well. So as we saw when Queen Elizabeth died, there's a lot of ceremonies that need to happen to transfer power in that period, and so there was this whole 10-day program as part of Operation London Bridge that had been sort of planned and executed when it happened.
But like even things like announcing the death, with that sort of thing, like all of the BBC channels all switch to the news operation. All of the radio networks go to one feed, and once the announcement happens, there's things like. Like the choice of music becomes a lot more muted. We saw some of the more frivolous channels like shopping channels just completely stop broadcasting for the morning period.
Yeah, I mean,
so
yeah.
it's a huge thing.
Well,
when it happened here in London, like electronic advertising billboards, they just all went to black, and they would sort of say, remembering the Queen or whatever. So it was really, was really pretty full on as well.
They had that here. They had that in Sydney. I remember it was kind of like everything was just Queen. Even the local shopping centre had that.
Yeah.
But you know what though? They none of them did it when Betty White passed away. So it's just not fair.
And that's the tragedy, isn't it? Who do people really care about when they die?
Exactly. Yeah. I was asked to make a vignette, a montage for Betty White as well, and I'm not going to say any other names because if I do, I will jinx. What was it, the year where a whole bunch of
2016
people were passing away?
Yeah, you had Bowie and then, George Michael and loads of people in that year.
And Carrie Fisher
Prince.
and all that, and then it's just like, holy crap. And then that's where we're going, okay, who's over 90? And
it should be really who's over 27.
But the problem is, like in 2016, you had John English as well, who was like in his 60s or something, So and Prince wasn't that old either, and George Michael wasn't that old.
They're both
the irony of him passing away on Christmas. So
yes,
yeah. So it makes good operational sense that they have this stuff ready to go just in case.
I was wondering about this guy Sir Edward that they're doing the obituary for. He's described as a former newsreader and charity worker, and I wondered whether there was a model for that. And then I thought of Sir Eric Pearce, who was a sort of Melbourne-based newsreader for Channel 9, I think, who I think did a lot of charity work. The thing that probably is different between him and this fictional Sir Edward is that Sir Edward is described as a lech. And I don't know that there were ever any such scandals with Sir Eric Pearce, but anyway, that was where my brain went.
You know more than I do.
Well, Sir Eric Pearce, surely, Matt, as someone who watched the Don Lane DVDs, you've seen Sir Eric Pearce because he used to pop up on
yes. So, when you're referring to the lech part, I'm going.
I don't know that Sir Eric Pearce was a lech, although maybe someone might correct me. I don't know either. He's dead. He can't sue me.
And it's interesting that we never find out Sir Edward's surname throughout all of this, but apparently everybody knows him.
Yeah,
and knows he's a lech.
Yeah, and they all think he's dead. So Sam's cheering that they've got Celia on board, and they send Brooke to cover the story. And Mike walks out of the hallway.
Ow! Talk about a sore bum. We're back on that no-name brand toilet paper. The budget cuts have gone too far, Em. Ouchie, wow.
Here, Mike, you can borrow the girls' supply.
Where'd you get that?
I nicked it from the Sunshine Cove production office.
Look closely, you can see some of their scripts.
I've got friends on that show, Marty.
Just a look, if you see that scene again, as soon as he says, ouch, itchy bum, and then the reactions from Jace, Stu, and Marty, just like...
Yeah, they're really trying to frame him as being gay, aren't they? By any time he might be even slightly camp, you can see the innuendos building up.
It's like Tobias out of Arrested Development. It's like, have you actually listened to what you're saying?
You don't get coloured toilet paper often nowadays, do you? It's generally just white. So
yes, it's a lovely really peach colour, isn't it?
It seems very 90s.
Yes. Now, Brooke, Stu, and Jace turn up at Celia's place. Brooke is making an insensitive remark about one of them has to look good. So, yeah, that part I'm just like,
that's when we don't
that
like.
To me, it sort of seems more like gallows humour to me. Like, I'm sure there would have been heaps of inappropriateness in many newsrooms.
Yeah. Jace is not feeling too good about the recording of the story. He's feeling sorry for Celia. Brooke does get Celia to sign a contract that guarantees the $200,000. Just as they start recording, Brooke does stop and suggest that Celia remove her coverings so the audience can see, quote, what the arsehole did to her and increase the donations.
I think the key thing about the $200,000 is that they've told Celia that she will get that. they're guaranteeing that, and then any money they make on top of that in this appeal, Frontline gets it, and that's kind of a key. It's such a scam, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Dom is passing around a farewell card for Kelly in publicity.
Mike!
Yo!
Do you want to sign this card? It's for Kelly.
Who's Kelly?
From publicity.
You remember Kelly, mate? You got her sacked.
I did not! That was Jan. What's everyone else written? That's funny. That's good too. The Star Bar will miss your laid-back style. That's because she liked laid-backs. What?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
It's this gay bullshit, isn't it? Listen up, everyone. I might as well say it now while everyone's here. I am not gay. I just happen to work with a few people who come from that beer-swilling homophobic school of journos who hang shit on everybody for everything, when most of their mates are probably campers or row of tents.
Gays are very articulate.
I heard that.
Yes.
And good on Mike for sticking up for himself there.
Yeah. Brooke shows Sam the rough cut of Celia's story, and Emma doesn't agree to show Celia's face. But Sam tries to justify the $200,000 for it. And Brooke also needs to get her wardrobe ready for the Lachlan interview, but suffers budget cuts, so has to wear her own clothes.
And the kind of interesting thing is that Brooke calls the person on the woman on the other end of the line Kitty.
Yes.
Which I'm wondering whether this might be a reference to the costume designer on Frontline, Kitty Stuckey.
Yes, I thought that as well. Yeah.
You know what? It wouldn't surprise me. That deserves a
pedantry. The nicest little nod since Hugh was given the surname Tabarg. Which just happens to be the surname of the Frontline, of the comedy Frontline editor.
I was quite interested in this idea that Brooke's got to wear her own clothes as well, because I always thought that journalists or anyone who's got an on-air role got a budget to buy the clothes that they needed. I don't know, Kim, if you know this, being a journalist.
Oh no, we always just had to wear our own clothes, but then I was in the print realm, so
well, yeah, this
so
is I mean for
I was never
people
on
television.
Yeah, I thought the same as you, Alison. I thought that people would have a limited amount of money just to get their own clothes. But Brooke, she likes schmoozing. She likes freebies. She probably has some wardrobe of some expensive stuff that she's kind of casually publicized in her appearances.
Well,
who knows? But
after the previous episode, you'd think she'd just make a few calls to Gucci or whatever and get a few free suits, but apparently not.
And jewellery from Klein's. Am I right with that? Is that like cheap shit?
Klein's? Yeah, Klein's. I mean, it's not like it's Bulgari or whatever.
Okay. Not like Miller's Fashion Club or anything like that?
That's probably not what Brooke would want to be wearing.
Okay. Kate and Hugh are still editing up Sir Edward's not-so-dead tribute as Sam and Brooke push into the edit suite to edit Brooke's promo, only giving a slight glimpse of Celia's face in the shot. So it's like, hey, if you want to see more, you watch the show tonight. Mike's reaction.
I just have to put
face, how depressing.
To the future. I'll be able to do it with the wonderful support of my
Glad I'm not eating.
friends.
An inspirational young woman.
No pun, very two-faced.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of disgust, I suppose, at her face, which I don't know. I mean, we only really get to see it at the end, don't we?
Yeah.
And I think, later on in the episode, you've got, Cavill coming on and having a reaction to the face as well. So, yeah, it's sort of, it's interesting the way that her face is framed in this episode and the way people are disgusted by it.
Well, it sort of seems to be like Celia is only the face. It doesn't seem like there's anything else about her.
Yeah, she's a face
Exactly.
and she's a prostitute, and that's how she's framed,
Yeah.
Yeah, just as a way to get more ratings, and the whole
money.
thing about you can only see 3/4 of the face, and you've got to tune in to see the whole thing, and then at the end, it's like they just forget about her. They just dump her, and just it's quite sad.
Just as the show finishes, Emma walks in and interacts with Mike. to try and display a more hetero image.
And Mike, I love the little lines like this. Mike saying, "I've lost the ability to sign my name."
Yeah, why do like current affairs hosts always sign their name on their script at the end? Are they auctioning all these off at some point, or what are they doing?
Now cut to the AFL Footy Show.
And welcome back to the Footy Show. And before we have a look at tomorrow's teams for the big game, we've got a special celebrity in the audience tonight from Frontline. Let's hear it for Mike Moore. G'day, Mike. Great to see you. And Sam, may I say, Mike is not the only special guest we have with us tonight.
Yes, Eddie, seeing as Mike's received some rather interesting publicity this week, we thought we might invite into the Superbox the Mike Moore fan club.
Mike, he's our man. We can have him going, yeah,
Jeez. And then Macho Man plays.
Yeah. It's interesting this, isn't it? Because like the Footy Show were sort of, they were quite notorious for being fairly homophobic and you know, Sam Newman dressing up in the tutu and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, you know, they sort of volunteer to be homophobic in this. It's quite interesting.
And then the look on Mike's face as he's having to put up with this again.
Yeah, he's just kind of smiling awkwardly with his arms
and
folded.
pushed again.
Yeah.
Did you notice he was sitting next to Mike?
Michael Hirsch is sitting next to Mike. He's sitting to the right of Mike. You can just see half of his face. I couldn't work out who the guy on the left was, but definitely Michael Hirsch on the right.
So you probably didn't recognise him, Daniel. The person who was sitting next to Michael was Enormous Penis. The next morning, Sam arrives in the office. The appeal is going extremely well, and they'll definitely get their $200,000 target. But Sam reveals a little more.
How much?
20,000.
I feel like Father Christmas. This is unbelievable. Celia's going to be absolutely wrapped. We know she's going to be really grateful.
Emma, we own the rights to Celia's story.
Yeah.
We have a perfectly legal agreement with Miss Gleason saying we'll hand over $200,000.
Yeah.
Anything else left over goes to us to cover costs.
What costs?
Administration costs, legal costs, telephonists, chocolate biscuits.
Yeah, that's the real reason, isn't it? They want the chocolate biscuits back.
It's the chocolate biscuits.
Yeah. But you notice that Kevin J. Wilson, the actor, his voice, his New Zealand accent came out a little bit there.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for him to
just
drop
a bit, chocolate biscuits.
Just to go
not quite Tim and Phil, but in that direction.
Not none of the Griffin's biscuits for the slim bit of mint filling. Mike arrives in the office. The AFL Footy Show appearance didn't go well at all, but Jan does have another plan.
Those bastards at Channel 9 prick wankers.
Never seen the arse page?
Yes. Now we need to find Mike a female companion.
Oh, Jan, we're not going to go to the press and say Mike Moore is going out with someone.
Of course not. We deny you're going out with someone, preferably high profile. If you deny it, they think it's true.
All right, I get you here.
Now, here's TV Week. Who'd you fancy?
It's a bit silly,
Yes,
isn't it?
come on.
No, not really.
No?
No. Oh, there's a new series of Ab Fab starting up.
Mike.
Well, normal blokes watch Ab.
Yes, keep going.
Kimberly looks nice there, doesn't she?
Do you know Kimberly Davies?
Yeah. Why?
So that's a nice another Ab Fab reference since they do mention Joanna Lumley in the episode earlier.
Considering they're both on the same night.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bit that we sort of didn't quite hear much about in that clip was that in the art section of the newspaper, there's a photograph of Mike at a film premiere. It's a French sort of art house film, and he's attended it with a man who's not named, and that's apparently Mike's next door neighbour. And I think Jan and Sam get quite unhappy, firstly about the fact that he's going to this art house film, but also he's going with a man. They're unhappy about that.
It does seem really weird having Sam say, "I don't want you seen with other men."
Yeah.
Like, how much control does Sam have over Mike's activities?
I'd be sort of like, so effing what, you know?
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it, that this is so recent and this was the attitude. But yeah, I mean, I can't think of any commercial television personality in that era who was out and gay. You know, there probably were some who were gay, but certainly they weren't out. And obviously you had a few on the ABC who were in the Mardi Gras coverage, of course. But they were kind of pioneers, I think.
Catching up with Jeffrey in the office, Mike does chat about sexuality.
If you found out someone was gay, would your opinion of them change?
No, of course not.
Hooray! Finally someone with an open mind.
Why should my opinion change? People are people.
Oh, people are people. Exactly. That's what I think.
Yeah. I mean, what's in a person's sexuality?
We live in a modern world. Everyone accepts homosexuality.
Everyone. I mean, take Ross, who reads the weekend news, right? I mean, is he any less a person because he's gay?
Ross is gay.
Yeah.
Ross, the newsreader, is gay.
I thought you knew.
You're kidding me. Oh, yuck.
Mike, what do you mean by that?
Oh, I didn't mean anything. No. Hang on, wait a second. He's a newsreader. I mean, that's different.
Yeah, it's kind of like Mike sort of let his mask slip a little when he let out the "oh yuck."
Yeah, it's a lot of this two-faced, literally and figuratively, in this episode, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's interesting, sort of seeing this kind of reaction to, oh, that person who reads the news. Do you know you know he's gay, don't you? Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about sort of, talking about the people who are in the news media who are queer, but then I sort of thought, well, that's sort of like adding them all over again, really. And, really, somebody who's reading the news, doesn't really matter, whatever they do away from the camera.
Yeah, it's completely irrelevant. Yeah.
Spot on. Spot on.
I mean, it should be, as the scene shows, it doesn't seem to be, at least in 1995.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a bit of this in the ABC series The Newsreader as well, which is set in the 80s. And
yeah, exactly.
Dale is gay, and, he's very closeted, although he's out there and enjoying himself as a gay man as well. You realise that's probably going to come to a head at some point in that series.
And yeah, it's certainly the newsreader is a much more serious version of what we're going through in this comedy show.
Yes.
Well, Marty drops into the edit suite and Kate and Hugh are still editing their Sir Edward package.
Sir Edward will be remembered for his keen love of lawn bowls, a passion that saw him rise to the top.
Hey, Hugh, I've got this dog overlay. Hey, did Sir Edward?
No!
All right.
Poor Kate and Hugh, they're the ones who are trying to get the job done, and yeah. But on Frontline, though, Mike updates the viewers of the Celia fundraiser, and the money is going to where it's needed. Cut to the kitchen with fancy platter and bubbles. So,
yeah, they've got boutique beer, multiple types of wine, an amazing cheese platter. Oh, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I'd quite like one of those.
Chocolate biscuits.
Chocolate biscuits.
Yep. And Sam signs away the $200,000 check to Celia.
To Celia!
To Celia! Mike, there's someone here to see you.
Oh, hi, Kimberly. How are you?
Mike. Good. Yeah, you ready to go?
Yeah. See you guys. We're going to head off. How you been?
Good. Yeah, really well.
You've been busy, no doubt.
Oh, I have. Very busy. Unbelievable.
Wow. Everyone's jaw dropped for that moment, with Kimberly Davies making a cameo.
Sorry, where are they actually going off to? It looks like they're going to some corporate event or something. Sorry?
No, just they're out party. They were going
Just
out
partying
partying.
because she's wearing like a suit that it's like going out to a club or something.
It doesn't feel like a
It just
party
looks-
outfit, does it?
Well,
No.
we'll find out later on. So, but the one thing is, though, I've thought around this time, right, being interested in Kimberly Davies, at that time in 95, something particular came out for Kimberly Davies. So mainstream, big name in Neighbours, it was her calendar. The Kimberly Davies 1995 calendar. And guess who was on another show only a few days before this Frontline episode?
The lovely Kimberly Davies! Now, I would have thought you would have played Calendar Girl then, you see, because Kimberly has a calendar. Kimberly has a calendar out, and it's It's out on, this calendar is out on Monday, is that correct, Kimberly?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Boy, Ramsey Street, here I come. Do you sunbake in the backyard?
And so forth. It goes on for another
Wow.
minute, and she's just being.
So was this from 19? What day was this? Yeah, so she's advertising a calendar for 1996 or financial year. Like when this came out, this episode was out in September. So the new calendars were just about to be launched, I guess.
All right,
next
hold on.
year.
Let me just quickly look it up and then delete my cache.
Yeah, I think the assumption here is that it's very much a bikini type calendar, is it? Neither Matt or Daniel bought a copy of this at the time.
I was more of a Far Side Off the Wall calendar
Right.
at that time.
Yeah, less Norks in that.
Yeah, I think it was promoting in 1996.
A lot more animals, though.
More dogs.
Well, it depends what you're into, doesn't it? And who are we to judge?
Yeah, I was more fascinated by another Neighbours star at the time. So
Did they have a calendar out? Whoever that was?
No, but they did feature in a calendar, but only on 1 month. But that was with FHM. So, geez,
So she was promoting the 1996 calendar.
I had the Monty Python calendar around this time, I remember.
Yeah, there's plenty of Norgs in Monty Python.
Yeah, there are actually, weirdly.
Yeah.
Plenty of pythons.
I was mainly interested in the pythons.
A fair bit of cross-dressing as well, though.
Yeah,
Whoa.
plenty of upskirting.
Whoa,
those pepper pots.
You're listening to the Smut podcast right now.
Yeah, sorry.
So what have you discovered?
I couldn't find anything on the Kimberly Davies calendar. But yeah, we'll just go with 96 because that sounds about right.
Yeah, the only thing I found about her was she was in the November 1994 Women's Weekly magazine. It's the Kimberly Davies fairy tale TV wedding when she marries Bruce Samazan. I don't know. Who did he play in Neighbours?
He became a priest, yeah.
So, yeah, she was obviously very popular to be on the front cover of Women's Weekly.
No doubt. There'll be some listener who's got the calendar out there or whatever will...
Can you, what year, you know how sometimes, the years eventually repeat themselves every, 14 years or so. So, what equivalent, there's like a place called Reverse Garbage near my work that actually had the 1989 calendar for last year because it was exactly the same days of the week and months as 2023. So I had my 1989 calendar throughout all of last year on display from some kind of Swiss bank. So, you could reuse the Kimberly Davies 1996 calendar at some point in time if it's in a, decent enough state.
If you can open it, yeah.
What are you implying about how the state got into that state, Kim?
I don't know.
Some of the months are stuck together.
It must have been a very busy calendar.
Found the calendar.
I'm implying the months are stuck together, and I'm going to go with that.
All right.
Yeah, I found the calendar. It's actually on eBay. 1996 calendar, and it's in near perfect condition. At the moment, someone's trying to sell.
Well, it turns out that you can reuse that 1996 calendar this year, 2024.
Whoa, we're already like a third of the way through it. Hurry up. Catch up.
Or you can wait until 2052.
Well, if everyone donates some coin to buymeacoffee.com/TLS Champagne Pod, I could buy this calendar on eBay for $150.
$150? Yeah. $150?
Yeah, $150.
So, how many articles for TV Week would you have to write to earn enough to buy the
70 divided by 150? That's 2 plus a bit more.
Yeah. Friggin' hilarious. But yeah, that's on eBay.
Oh, incidentally, after a quick Google, I found out that answer from www.whencanireusethis.calendar.com.
I love that website exists.
Me too. Isn't the internet lovely?
So if you got that calendar and you can open it, then yeah, you can currently reuse it.
If you can open it.
Yeah, because it could be sealed up in the plastic.
Yeah,
I know what you
that's
lot are
not what
thinking
you're
of.
implying. You're implying what I was implying.
Yeah.
Marty, Stu and Jace are walking out into the car park a little bit buzzed with Marty being judgmental on Celia's career choice.
How's that Celia chick? Shocker. Oh, shocker, eh, Jace? You know, I feel sorry for her.
Mate, I feel sorry for her too, but, you know, she was a prostitute.
And?
Well, you got to take the good with the bad. I mean, you know, she was working in a dangerous profession.
All right, so I guess she asked for it, eh, mate?
Here we go. Up on your high horse. I'm just saying that some of these birds are a little bit rough around the edges, and, you know, they're used to this dangerous lifestyle. Besides, she's 200 grand richer, so...
Yeah, I suppose so. When you think about it, she has done pretty well out of this.
She's done bloody well.
Good on Stu for putting Marty in his place. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting because, like, Marty's like, he's kind of a lovable rogue kind of character in this, and yet he's saying really horrible things. And it's sort of, I think if you're making the show these days, you would make a bad character say the bad things rather than a character that you kind of like. So it's kind of interesting.
But you notice that it's the reporters, everyone who's on TV, like you got Mike, Brooke, and Marty being judgmental. They're the ones who are doing it. So, and the others behind the scenes are okay, except for Sam. Sam's a dick.
Yeah.
So he's only looking out for the program itself. So
and using excuses like, you know, they're rough around the edges because of their profession. Well, you know, perhaps the other side of the equation that uses that profession shouldn't make it so that sex workers have to be rough around the edges. Know what I mean? And then, we get to see a scene with no dialogue, which is, Celia having done bloody well, apparently.
Yeah, she's having some wine too, isn't she? Which is nice. And then we see her face, which is pretty messed up.
Although it kind of helps that with the crappiness of the home video. It kind of softens the image a bit, I think.
And the mood lighting, the candles.
Yeah, but it did look like there was a lot of plasticine work happening there.
Yeah, I think maybe the sort of makeup effect isn't so great. You know, I'm sure if they made it these days, they would make it look a lot more realistic. But we get the point.
Yeah.
So the next day, Marty, Stu and Jace finished the story of the dog travelling to 2,000 k's home. Thrilling stuff. Yes. And Brooke's interview with Lachlan is locked in for 11:30. So Jan comes into the office with a magazine article of Mike Moore and Kimberly Davies. Now you can find out what actually happened. Kim?
Ah, yes.
Look what I've got for you.
Right.
Celebrity couple snapped out on the town.
Wow, she's gorgeous.
Great girl.
Oh, see how easy it is, darling, to turn the press around. The phones have been ringing all morning. Are there wedding plans? What's the latest? What was she like?
Oh, great. She was really in party mode too, yeah.
Oh, was she?
But I was really tired, so I had to bail. Thanks, Jan. Good on you.
Nothing. They just went out.
Yeah, they're sort of slightly leaving it open that he might actually be gay, aren't they? Or well, I don't know, not really.
No, it's
or
just
at
up
least
himself.
that he didn't have a crack, as it were.
Yeah.
Brooke goes in for makeup with the new makeup artist Lisa filling in for Brooke's regular Stephen, who's not rostered on due to budget cuts. And
you know how we know that it's Lisa? Because she says, "I'm Lisa."
Yeah, that's true.
It's helpful, isn't it? Lisa, by the way, is wearing the most mid-90s outfit I have ever seen. Just this massive kind of dinosaur designs, big kind of plastic heart necklace thing. And, oh, wow, what an outfit.
Very girlfriend, yeah.
Yeah, she looks like she's from Dolly. She's been in Dolly magazine or something. It's
Cleo, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I think I brought out the old catalogue from the Women's Day from the August 1995. The men's fashion, I mean, God, you've got the Big W catalogue here, which is just all really baggy and just full of all these
baggy chinos, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Baggy chino, it is baggy. It's full on baggy chinos. See this one here. I think I showed it.
Yeah,
baggy chinos,
baggy
polo
chinos.
shirts.
Nice.
1994. Wow. But there is a you can mail order the catalogue. I think it's for one of those mail order British fashion brands, and you can see what the quote, it literally says, quote, what the stars are wearing, but the Freeman's Winter Catalogue. So it says, Home and Away's wardrobe department select garments for the cast from Freeman's Catalogue. The quote stars, it actually has it in quotation marks, enjoy the exclusive styles and labels they have. They love being ahead of the Australian fashions and appreciate the convenience of being able to shop by phone in the privacy of their own home. So you can, yeah.
Oh,
yes, it's not contra at all.
Yeah, the Freeman's catalogue, I remember we did order a couple of things from that in the mid-90s, and they were kind of crap. Not clothes. It was more sort of electrical gadget type things.
As Marty and team leave the family with the dog, he accidentally runs over the dog, which is out of view. Poor dog. Yeah.
It's a bit like the first episode of Frontline where they kill off Ugly Dave Gray, isn't it? It's kind of the same plot, but like it's a dog, you know?
But it's also like that moment where when Marty's gone to that zoo or what? No.
Oh, the butterflies.
Yes, killing the butterflies.
Butterflies.
Yeah, he hasn't got a great track record, Marty, or the show more generally. But actually, the other thing I wanted to say very quickly about this dog family is the kids. Like, how much are they like the piss week kids?
Yeah. Now back to Brooke, and Lisa wipes off the peroxide, causing blistering on Brooke's face.
Oh, shit. You f***ing idiot. You've used too much peroxide. This is blistering. Oh, shit. This is not going to go away in time. How in God's name am I supposed to interview Murdoch with my face looking like this?
Oh, so sorry, Brooke. I'm so...
Shush! I can't think. I can't do the story. I've got to let it go.
Yeah, and that was naturally censored, not me. So that was their extra fuck word to get it into the episode.
But yeah, the panic in Brooke's voice.
Yeah, she's not going to get to hit onto Murdoch.
Exactly.
Yeah. Silly Lisa, though. I mean, you got to read the packet for these sort of top lip bleaching things. They tell you that you only leave it on for like 15 minutes or something, then you got to take it off. So Lisa needs to learn to read the packet, I think.
Yeah, mate, you really need to do a spot test first.
Yeah, there's that as well. Yeah.
But you think,
I mean, it could have also been a home brand bleaching kit with all those budget cuts.
You're right.
Yeah.
No frills brand.
One of your Far Eastern flimsy bleaching kits. Yeah.
Marty's on the phone to Emma. The dog story is gone. Brooke is on the phone to Emma. The Lachlan story is gone. And Bob tells Sam about, Mr. Cavill tells Sam about the follow-up to Celia's story, gone.
Bit of a problem, Sam. That prostitute with the burnt face. Raided the socks off. Yeah, freak shows usually do.
No.
You planning a second story? Yeah, we're in the middle of an appeal. Raise enough money for her? Yeah. Then drop it. I don't want that face on this network. People are trying to eat, for God's sake.
Yeah, no people who are a bit different, including gays or women in a lot of cases. Yeah, that kind of sums up network television in the 90s, I would say.
And there's an hour until airtime, and there's no stories in the bank other than the live interview with Ron Nelson from the National Ambulance Alliance. And when you think about it, they did eat up their generic stories, their evergreens in the last episode. Yeah, about the UFOs and stuff.
And the winemaker of the year.
Yeah. See, it shows you if you pay attention It's all linked. And Mike is instructed to pad the story or the interview with Ron Nelson big time.
And eventually all the ambulances will have this new radio system.
Uh-huh. Oh, well, and this new radio system in the ambulance, how many watts is it?
Oh, it's very powerful.
Right. Oh, well, that sounds powerful. And who makes them?
A German firm, actually. We import them.
Right. Oh, good. Oh, they certainly make good equipment. Do they still have the button that you...
God, this is boring.
We've still got a whole break to fill.
Christ.
And even, what's his name? Even Friday Night Funny Man, yeah. Yeah, he already had his 4.5 minutes of airtime.
Yeah,
the Maralinga Mambo.
He offers to do another number, and he's dressed as a spaceman or something.
I just want to know more.
Yeah, I want to know
exactly.
what was
did we
his song
miss?
where he's dressed as a spaceman or in some kind of silver suit. Anyway,
we could have asked him when we had him on.
Alas,
we literally had him on.
Yeah, well. But just as there's no hope, Kate barges into the control room and Sir Edward has passed away. And there was much rejoicing. Yay.
We just needed somebody to die for that palate cleanser.
We needed an old lech to die.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Well, that concludes Frontline Season 2, Episode 8 and the Champagne Comedy Podcast, Episode 61. Woo! Feel free to email us, champagnelateshow@gmail.com. Check out this episode's show notes for our socials, as well as our Facebook Champagne Comedy Podcast group. And also buymeacoffee.com/TLS Champagne Pod. Also, shout out to Asmo, who also was very nice to have donated a coffee to us too.
Oh, thank you very much, Asmo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How many coffees have we got now, Matt?
We have enough for... I'm going to have to sacrifice. So we've got one enough for Kim, Daniel, and Alison, and I'll miss out. So I'm the one who will drive you there to get your coffee. So.
Next time.
Yeah.
But
So,
I
no,
want
seriously.
an alternative milk. That's going to cost more.
Maybe we have to go to a Wild Bean Cafe or something where it's a bit cheaper.
Wild Bean.
Pretty fucking wild.
I was actually at the BP today, and there was someone ordering like an Uber coffee from the Wild Bean Cafe, and this woman's got the paper bag going, "You have to be careful, hold it upright." I'm like, you're about to go on a bike in the pouring rain with this coffee. I don't know who does that, but anyway, someone ordered a Uber Wild Bean Cafe.
Imagine ordering a $2 coffee from 7-Eleven via Uber.
I know someone who worked in the kind of cafe that did like Uber coffees, and they would make the coffee and then it would sit there for 5 minutes while the Uber guy is going to turn up. And you know, if you've ordered something like it's a bit frothy, like a cappuccino or a latte or something, it's just going to go flat by the time it eventually gets to the customer. It's going to be cold as well. So you know, just
It goes iced coffee.
Walk or drive or get public transport to the cafe and have it there. Don't get it on Uber.
Yeah.
So again, thank you, Asmo. It's really kind of you.
And just one last thing, you know, why not be like Pete the Sea and you know, tell anybody who you know, likes comedy, likes 90s Australian comedy, who doesn't know about this podcast. Why not let them know about it?
And is prepared to listen to us crap on for upwards of 2 hours sometimes.
Give us a rating on
maybe,
whatever
maybe
you're listening
play
to.
down the it goes a bit long in some episodes part of it, but
even though that's true.
We know this. This is the point. It's okay.
What do you people keep saying 2 hours worth? This is like 4 hours and 35 minutes long, and I have to edit it down to under 2 hours.
Yeah, we've been here since 7 a.m. and it's now 8:30 p.m.
In fact, as soon as we hit stop, we're going to start recording and beginning the next episode.
The next one. Yeah.
Yeah, all good. So again, thank you so much for coming back on, Alison, Daniel, and Kim. And also you, the listener. I'm Matt. Thanks for listening. Catch you next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Champagne Comedy Podcast, created by fans for the fans. For more information on this podcast, please visit champagnecomedy.com. Produced by Matt Fulton Productions. mattfulton.com.au. love it. I love it. Challenge, you're now going to have to mash the entire theme together. That's really hard to do.
It is. That was just it was just like essentially like time stretching to match the tempo with that sort of middle bit, and then also pitch shifting one of the stab parts. So yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do it because there's a lot more key changes in the full theme.
Yep. All right, one more time.
And really rudimentary knowledge of audio software.
I think it's pretty good, Daniel. I think you've done well.
It's really good. I'm going to play it one more time so you can all use it as an unofficial ringtone or text message or whatever. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
That bit I love.